quantity of knights that House Raven can field is unmatched by any other household. They deploy in force a relentless grinding advance, creating a rolling thunder that strikes fear into the hearts of even the most resolute of foes. And in this video we're going to show you how to paint the carapace of an Armiger Helverin in the colours of House Raven. Now the first thing we need to do is undercoat the model, and to do this we chose to use Mephiston Red for the purposes of this video. The first thing we're going to focus on is the silver areas, and for this we're going to base coat using Lead Belcher. So I'm going to take some here onto my palette, thin it down with a little bit of water, and then roll my brush up to a point, and I'm going to apply that all over the silver trim areas of the model. And with that silver base coated, we're now going to move on to the next stages. So we're going to use Norn Oil as a shade all over the silver, then we're going to apply an edge highlight of Stormhurst Silver. So I'm going to take some Norn Oil here onto my palette, and I'm going to apply that all over the silver trim. If you need to tidy up after, you can do so with Lead Belcher. And with the shade done, I'm now going to apply an edge highlight using Stormhurst Silver. I'm just using the edge of my brush for this. There we are, the silver areas are finished. Now we're going to move on to the chevrons. So we're going to use Avalon Sunset to block out the area, then we're going to use a HB pencil to mark out the chevrons, then fill in the black ones using Abaddon Black, and then finally add in the white chevrons using Corax White. So I'm going to take some Avalon Sunset onto my palette here, thin it down with some water, just make that a little bit thicker there. And I'm going to apply that onto the area that I want to block out in yellow. Be as neat as you can, but if you do get any on the red areas, you can just tidy back up with Mephiston Red. And with the yellow blocked out, we're now going to use a HB pencil to mark out the points of our chevrons. So we're going to use these rivets as a point of reference, and we're going to place dots in the middle of each set, working down. And I'm going to start here. Then I'm going to place a dot on either side, just because there aren't any rivets there. Now we're going to sketch out the lines of our chevrons. So I'm going to start from this rivet here and work down to the next central dot. And I'm going to work all the way down until I get to the bottom. With that done, we're now going to use Abaddon Black to fill in those chevrons. If you do make any mistakes, you can just tidy back up with Avalon Sunset. There we are, the black chevrons are now mapped in. Now we're going to use Corax White for the white chevrons. Be as neat as you can, don't be scared to tidy back up. There we are, the chevrons are now done. Now moving on, we're going to block out the black areas on the shoulder panels using Abaddon Black, then apply a recessed shade of Norn Oil over the red areas. So I'm going to take some Abaddon Black here onto my palette, thin it down with some water, roll my brush up to a point, and I'm going to build this up using a couple of thin layers. Now we're going to apply a recessed shade of Norn Oil, mainly on the red areas, but also on the yellow details here and there. Places like this where we've got indentations in the yellow areas. And with that done, we're going to move on to the highlights. So for the red areas, we're going to use Wild Rider Red. For the yellow areas, we're going to use a Shabty Bone. And for the black areas, we're going to use Dawnstone. So I'm going to take some Wild Rider Red onto my palette here, thin it down with some water. Make sure to roll my brush up to a really nice point. And then I'm going to pick out the edges on the armour. I'm also going to pick out the rivets. We're now going to highlight the yellow edges using a Shabty Bone. Finally, we're going to use Dawnstone to highlight the black areas. And there we are, with that final highlight done, the heraldry of House Raven is now complete. Well, that's the end of the video. We hope you've enjoyed watching, and we hope you have great fun painting your own miniatures. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!